Hello, lovely people. It's Claire Deal. I'm going to do a little bit of an intro for me today. For those of you that don't know me, I'm an intuitive, a seer, medical intuitive, energy worker and homeopath, mother, wife, daughter, friend, a variety of many other things. And I wanted to come on today because I could feel this sense for myself. I really trust when I'm feeling something myself that it is being felt by, I'm just moving this, felt by many people as well. I'm not assuming, I would never assume, but I know energy enough now. Good morning, Jackie. I know energy well enough now, inside and out, that remembrance of there's never just the one, it's the many, and this awareness of and this feeling of and trusting of what is felt for the one is felt by all, and then understanding that and working with that and trusting in that, and really keeping in mind, hello, and really keeping in mind this awareness of you're not on your own. You know, it's so often, especially when we're feeling or experiencing those heavy emotions, those emotions that just kind of weigh us down and really make us want to close down and shut the world out and go on to insular kind of place. And there's a time and place for insular and quiet and retreating. It's how we retreat, and it's where we retreat and what we're feeling when we're in retreat, and often when we're in those kind of darker places, those lower places, that we actually feel very alone, very solitary, we're alone in our suffering, we're alone in the experience. No one else would understand us. You know, that kind of narrative that can play out. We've all experienced that at some stage, some people a lot, some people a little. But I wanted to touch on that, and I've had those moments throughout my life, and I still from time to time, and I don't avoid them. They're actually a really important part of this experience. But what I felt called to speak on today is a practice or a process that I do quite often, because as a highly sensitive person, I can only speak from this place, is I tend to feel and can, if I'm not aware and I'm not doing my practices and not really having that spiritual hygiene or that health hygiene and that taking care of myself and all the aspects of myself that I am, I can feel bombarded and overwhelmed and completely sucked into the collective, the white noise, the everything, you know what I mean? And feel myself getting drowned in that, rather than feeling myself in that, if you catch my meaning. And so really having that awareness, you can kind of plod along, think I'm fine until you realize you can't even hear yourself think. You can't even navigate or discern or decipher what is your feeling state and what is others' feeling state, not from an us and them mentality, but from a sense of duty of care to self. So I wanted to speak on that today because I can feel for many right now. And if you're not experiencing it right now, you will at some stage again, because that's the way that it goes, right? Not to predict it, just know in the nature and order of things, how it is to come back to that sense of self, of knowing your own feeling state, of knowing your own thoughts, and actually coming back to your own energy, the way that you feel. And you might go, I don't want to come back to how I feel awful. But they're the layers, right? They're not how you feel. That's not how you are in the core of yourself, not in the essence of self, of the original source of self. That self is infallible, impenetrable, is constant, is always in this state of peace, of calm, of being. They don't have the highs and lows and the different versions that the human does. And that's not to bypass that human experience. That's a very important part of our experience here, our learning here, our remembering here. But sometimes it can feel too much. And so this practice is to help you come back to that sense of, for lack of a word, neutrality, which might be a bit like neutral. Why would I want to feel neutral? But it's that sense of place of centeredness, of neutrality, of calm, of existing and just being. Yeah. So I'd like to do this practice with you, if that feels okay. So if you're somewhere that you can join me, I invite you to. If you're in a place that's not possible now and you can come back later, please do. You're more than welcome to stay. Not that you have to listen to me. You're more than welcome to stay and just listen to it play out in the background for now and just get a felt sense of that in that way, and then come back and actually close your eyes and really get into that deeper state. The reason why closing your eyes is so important is because you get out of the external kind of stimuli and you actually come into the self. And then what happens quite often is when you close your eyes and you come into the self, you kind of go, oh, it's loud, it's busy, things like that. and it will seem to get worse before it gets better. And then over time, it comes into a calmer state. And that might happen the first go. That might be a practice by practice, moment by moment, showing up experience. And I'm reiterating that because so often we can see someone who's doing this practice and they're like, oh, there, and you're kind of like, comparisonitis can kick in and you're like, I still feel like shit. I can't even see anything. I can't feel anything. And they're over there in serene world and I'm over here just feeling all these feelings, right? And so there's this thing of timing, showing up, practice, and continuing to show up even if nothing is felt or seen or known yet. It's like expecting a six-pack on the first time you do sit-ups. It just doesn't work like that. So being really kind and compassionate and patient with yourself around that as well. So if you're in a place that you can really settle in, really feel something at structure, at the support of your back, whether it be a wall, whether it be your bed head, whether it be I'm sitting in a chair, whatever that might be, or even better, a tree. Feeling that support at your back, feeling the structure of whatever you're sitting on, feeling your buttocks, feeling the solidity of that and the groundedness of that and the physicality of that. Excuse me. And just feeling the world around you. Now, that might be feeling the door beside you or being aware of the door beside you. Feeling and being aware can correlate together. Feeling the ground beneath your feet. And if you haven't closed your eyes yet, I invite you to. Or having a soft gaze, whatever feels really safe for you and good for you. And if your feet, ideally your feet are on the ground. If they're not, imagining, but if they can be, please do. Feeling your feet on the ground. Imagining your feet on the ground. Knowing your feet on the ground. And just letting your feet actually rock and roll. Nothing too swingy, too far to the left, too far to the right. Just a nice, gentle kind of ebb and flow of moving all the structures of your feet and really feeling your toes touch the ground and the ball of your foot touch the ground and the side of your foot and the heel of your foot and the other side of your foot, and just letting it settle in that way until you find a sense of grounded here, now. And what you might notice as you start to do that is your breath just naturally starts to shift subtly or significantly, without you doing anything, without you going, oh, I'm going to take a breath in, just letting it do what it does, really becoming aware of the state of you, physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically. And as your feet settle in, what you might notice, or you mightn't, but I'll describe it for you, follow along, is your energy starts to move and shift and possibly even start to pulse or be felt more deeply or more obviously to you within the calves of your legs and the shins of your legs, within your knees and in the backs of your knees, in your thighs and the backs of your thighs, feeling those big muscles, feeling the beautiful structure of your legs and your feet and how beautifully they hold you and they stabilize you, and how often we just take that for granted. Settling in that way, bringing your awareness to your buttocks and the big muscles there as well, into your pelvis and your hip joints, into your lower chakra, into your base chakra, right at the bottom there, letting that awareness, and if you wish to, using your hands to really feel your physical body. If not, that's okay too. But if you are, letting your body, your hands follow as I speak on this, moving up to the higher parts of your torso, just below your ribs. Noticing that part of your anatomy and your energy, and at the back behind as well. And then coming up to your chest, your heart, and your back there too, your higher back. Up to your shoulders, down the upper parts of both arms, feeling the muscles there, the bones there, the structure there, into your elbows, to your forearms, the top and the bottom under part of your forearms, into your wrists, top of your hand, into each finger, your thumb, your index finger, your middle finger, ring finger, and little finger, into the palms of your hands. And just noticing what you're feeling, what you're noticing, or what you're experiencing. Being really aware if judgment is coming in, or if the mind has become busier or is trying to distract you. And rather than fighting it and saying, stop distracting me, being aware that it's doing that, but being and focusing on what you're doing all at the same time. Bring your awareness to your throat, into your neck at the front and at the back, into your brainstem at the base of your skull, along your jawline, underneath your chin, along your jaw. And if you want to follow with your fingers, tracing along that part of you as well, around the edges of your ears, along the side of your cheekbones, under your eyes and down your nose, across your lips, into your mouth, feeling the palate, your tongue, your teeth, your gums, into your eyes, your eyeballs, your eyelids, your eyebrows, your forehead, up into the top of your head, into your skull, into your cranial plates, just noticing what's being shown to you, what's being experienced by you as you become more bodily aware, or present to your physicality, yet present to your energy and your emotional state and your mental landscape as well, all at the same time. Noticing what you hear near you and outside of your space that you're sitting in or further away from you. Notice how that feels to hear with a sharper sense of being able to hear in the way that you do. Notice the sense of smell, possibly smelling just the air, which might smell like it smells like nothing, but your nose and your senses are still smelling something, even if we're not sure what it is. Sometimes it's just smelling, hearing, tasting, feeling for the sake of it, because we can. A luxury that we just take for granted far too often. Noticing the taste in your mouth. Is your mouth dry? Noticing the temperature in the space that you're sitting in. Is it hot or cold or just right? Does your body feel the same temperature in the space that you're sitting in? Or is there a clear distinction between that as well? Noticing anything that's touching your body, your clothes, the material of the clothes that you have on, or the blanket that you have on, or the pillows that are touching you, or the lounge or the bed, or whatever it is touching you. Being aware of that as well. And just taking a conscious breath here, nourishing breath here, breathing in through your nose. Taking a lovely nourishing breath all the way down to your base chakra. Letting it go with an audible sigh. Letting your shoulders soften and drop down more deeply, organically as you do so. And we're doing that 2 more times. And the next time, I invite you to take your breath in all the way down to your base chakra, and then just holding it there for a moment, and possibly even taking another sip of air. So breathing in, holding, taking another sip of air, holding for as long as you can, until you get to the point where it's just really bring your awareness to how it feels to breathe, how naturally we breathe all of the time, how our heart beats all of the time, yet we don't really notice it. We don't pay attention to it because it's just a give-in. But when we take moments like these, there's a different sensation, a different presence, a different awareness to that organic process. And sitting in appreciation for that for a moment as well. Grateful. So, so grateful. And as we sit here in that sense of appreciation, or attempting to appreciate, or attempting to stay present to what is being experienced without getting too distracted, really bringing your presence and awareness to your beautiful auric field, your energetic body, all the way around you, beneath your feet, above your head, at the front of you, to the side of you, left and right, and all the way to the back of you. Just asking your light to naturally, beautifully start to seal, not so that you are stuck, but so that you are supported, so that it may grow and glow and expand, that supports you as the sovereign being that you are. Letting your beautiful light do what it does so effortlessly, so naturally. There you go. So as you sit here, and there might be a lovely sense of quiet or calm. For some of you, it might actually feel even more, you might even feel a little bit more agitated, a little bit more activated, because you're kind of like, wow, I'm really busy inside. However, wherever you are in this particular experience, I invite you to ask your energy to come back from the unpleasant thoughts that you've had or are having, the exchanges that you've had this morning, yesterday, this week, this last month, where you've given in places that you've given too much and there's resentment being built up, where you're giving still in this very moment, where you're like, why am I so tired? But you're giving, giving, giving. And this isn't from a self-centered or selfish place. This is from a place of over-giving, over-sharing, overdoing, overextending. Just calling that energy back effortlessly, not in a way that you're grabbing or clawing, but just calling your energy back, calling your energy back, calling your energy back. Reminding yourself, I don't need to be there anymore. I've done what I need to do. So often we disperse our energy out in an attempt to fix things that our ego says we need to fix, but our energy knows it's not the case, but it will follow what we ask it to do. So check in those places where you think you should have, or you need to fix something or be there for something, and check if that is in congruence or not, in integrity or not. Letting it all come back, your own unique, beautiful energy coming back, coming back, coming back. And what you might notice is it comes, for most people, not everyone, predominantly to one particular part of you. For some people it's the heart, some people it's the head, some people it's their digestive organs or their lower chakras in that way. Or maybe you just feel it and notice it everywhere, and maybe you don't feel or notice anything. But be assured it's still happening nonetheless. That's a really important thing to remember, especially if you've never done a practice like this before. You may not see it, you may not feel it, you may not know it. It doesn't mean something isn't occurring. That's it. Letting that land. And when you feel like you've called back as much as feels good, noticing how that feels when your energy comes back, if you're acutely aware of it. There's a clear indication will be a sense of, oh, gosh, thank God, thank you. Coming back, you'll notice the volume might be turned down, even if it's only slightly. Please pay attention to slightly. Slightly is not nothing. Slightly is powerful. And acknowledging the slightest things brings a beautiful ripple effect towards that end. Watching if there's a process here that you're attempting to rush. Quick, get it over and done with so I can go and do more things. Come back to the calm, come back to the present, come back to the body, come back to the energy. And notice if anything else starts to bob up where you're like, oh, my energy's there, and my energy's there, or my presence is there, or my thoughts are there. Thoughts, energy, feelings, emotions, all in the same realm. Keep that in mind. So if your thoughts are really with someone, or your worries are really with someone, or your anger is really with someone, start to call your energy back. Now you might go, why would I want to call my anger back? It won't come back to you as anger. It will come back to you as your energy. It's all part of the way you've been dispersing yourself out, giving everyone a piece here, a piece there, a piece here, a piece there. And acknowledging that with kindness, letting go of any judgment. There you go. Bringing it back, bringing it back, bringing it back. We often think that we're going to feel more angry, more upset, more sad when we start to call our energy back from settings or situations that activate us in those ways, where more times than not, it's not the case. We actually fill ourselves up in the places that we feel lacking, or that we're grieving, or that we're tormented or aggravated or agitated in some way. You are soothing yourself here, loving yourself here, reclaiming yourself here. Not attached, but present. So taking a breath, knowing that if you haven't connected or called back everything that you'd like to call back in this moment, knowing that you can do it after this call, throughout the day. Keep coming back to it again and again and again. When your noise, the white noise of your head gets too much, or your body sensations are starting to show you you're not grounded, or you're feeling scattered, or the emotions you get overwhelmed with, take a breath, ground in like we did with your feet at the beginning, call your energy back. It's a clear indication you're leaving yourself, you're disassociating, you're escaping, you're avoiding. And that's okay. We have our tools and the ways that we've learned. This is another one to add in that is inclusive and honouring of the self. You deserve to feel good. You're allowed to feel good. Give yourself permission to feel good. Feel yourself, feel your essence, feel and know your light. What you might notice as I said those words, your energy shifted. And there was a release. So taking a breath there. Letting it go with a sigh. And in your mind or out loud, just saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Taking another breath. One more. And just sitting here with your eyes closed as long as you wish. Really sitting with how you're feeling. Letting go of the expectation to feel good, which might sound the complete opposite of what I said. But often before we feel good, we will start to feel the feelings we've been avoiding. So you may feel a need to cry to allow the release, to allow the feeling state of feeling good or feeling yourself. Or you may feel that anger come up, but then effortlessly be processed, and then this knowing and the experience of self comes to be. So having this beautiful experience and this discovery and this journey with and of self, and in that there's this sense of less of out there and more of in here. And then when it comes to connecting to out there, you know where you are, you know where you stand, you know how you feel and why you feel what you feel, or you trust what you feel even if you don't have a cognitive understanding of it. And that brings a sense of ease in that process as well. So, yeah, I hope that that's helped you in whatever way it's meant to. And if you're not aligned with it today, maybe you'll come back to it later and go, that's really helping me today. I get it. You know, sometimes that's the way that it is with certain things. Sometimes we can read a book and not get it and put it down and then pick it up again later and go, that's what was being said to me. Now I get it. You know, that divine timing of ourselves is really important to honor and understand and be patient with as well. So, yeah, okay. So I hope that you enjoyed that. Thank you to those of you that joined me, and I really look forward to sharing more experiences and more time with you in this way. I'd love to hear your experience, if anything came to light, or if it worked for you really well, or some things you're like, oh, I didn't get that part. Please reach out or share in the post, in the comments, if it feels aligned to do so. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.